Welcome in 07 citizens, Black here from CasaBLACK Gaming, and this is a review for the Anvil F7C Hornet. This is a very popular light fighter, and so I wanted to check it out and let you guys know what I think about it. Now, if you find this video useful or need more guides, reviews, or even vehicle loadouts, then please consider subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and also commenting because I'm very active in the comments section, answering most questions. I also offer up additional help by way of my Discord channel, which is more of a place to help players with direct questions or to have further conversations about the game and ships that we all love. Anyway, with the intro out of the way, let's go ahead and get to this honest ship review. Now, first here on the screen are the stats for the Hornet, which is labeled as a single-seater light fighter, not to be confused with the Super Hornet, which allows for a second player to be seated inside to control some weapons as well. The regular Hornet comes with two size 3 pilot-controlled hardpoints, and for these weapons, if you need to know what weapons I recommend, then please check out the Hornet loadout video that I'll link at the end of this video. The Hornet also has a 1 size 3 pilot-controlled nose hardpoint, which offers up some options there as well. There's also a size 5 store-all big box that you can use for inventory, or you can swap that out for some additional firepower if you choose so. As far as missiles go, the Hornet comes with 2 size 3 missile racks supporting 4 size 2 missiles, as well as 2 more size 2 missile racks that support 4 size 1 missiles for a total of 8 missiles. The ship dimensions are 22.5 meters in length, 21.5 meters across its beam and width, and then 6.5 meters in height. The crew size is 1. The combat speed is 192 meters per second. The max speed is 1,229 meters per second. The cargo is 2 SCU, assuming that you keep the store-all box, and the ship claim time at the ASOP terminal is 6 minutes and 45 seconds, which can of course be brought down to 2 minutes and 14 seconds for around 3,400 credits if you cannot wait. The ship components are 2 size 1 shields, 2 size 1 coolers, 1 size 1 power plants, and 1 size 1 quantum drive. There are 9 thrusters for stabilization and maneuverability, and there are 2 size 1 hydrogen fuel tanks and 1 size 1 quantum fuel tank. Alright, so for many ships, this is a real concern for some of the ship owners and can determine if they in fact use a ship daily or decide to go with something different that they find more convenient to get in and out of, and so I include the time it takes to enter a ship for those owners who want to weigh that into their decision. The Anvil Hornet offers up a quick access ladder that shoots down and you climb up, making it one of the fastest ways to enter a ship, which only takes about 4 to 5 seconds for the full animations to play out, placing you in your seat and ready to fly in pretty fast time. Now, the F7C Hornet has no living accommodation, so this is not a ship that allows you to use a bed to log out in or do anything other than fly, really. The Hornet series comes in 2 standard colors that you can purchase any time of the year, which are Frostbite, which is a white color scheme, and then Timberline, which is more of an army green. During May and Invictus Week, there is the blue paint theme offered up during that time. I have to say though that none of these colors really float my boat, and the one I honestly prefer is the Wildfire paint job, but that's a limited ship sale item, so not really a paint scheme you can just buy for this regular Hornet series. The Anvil F7C Hornet is a light fighter. Players could use it to get around the verse, and also if you forego the extra weapons and keep the store-all box, you can have 2 SCU of cargo space where you're able to add items into that with the trade terminals. Now, with the cargo refactor coming out, no word on how this will be changed, and it might not be changed at first, but I imagine it will either stay the same and be one of the few ships to just have cargo zapped in, or we might lose the capability altogether, or maybe it will open up and allow us to access it. Now, I did try to see if I could get on top of it and access it any differently on the test server, and while it looks like it's clickable, it does not have any functionality, which tells me it will probably open up later on when we're made to manually move cargo and you could maybe tractor it inside. This might not be convenient to say the least, but it will most likely still function. But I have a feeling that other than traveling around the verse and combat, the storage function is probably just a mostly well-kept secret that many players don't even know exists, let alone use. I'll discuss the combat more later in this review. As far as a light fighter, the cost could get a little higher with the amount of options this ship offers up. With you being able to replace that store-all box or the nose hardpoint, it could get a little more expensive than some of the other ships of this same size, not to mention that this ship can overheat once you start adding more weapons, so you absolutely need to buy a power plant to keep from overheating and your ship from doing things like this. Overall, I spent around 100,000 credits to get the ship upgraded, which isn't bad, and I'm sure for most, this will not be your very first ship you're trying to make money with, so you should be able to outfit it up pretty quickly and easily. Even on a fresh server, after a day or so of missions, you should be fine. Now, the first part of this video has been mostly facts. Now we start to get to the point where it's more subjective, and although I really try not to push my opinion too much on others, I'm going to come with you and give you my honest take from a reasonable place, trying to avoid hyping things just for the sake of hype. The Anvil ships do not have the sleekest, most stylish look of the ship lines out there, but they look exactly as they are intended and have similar stylings to Earth fighters from like the 20th, 21st century or so. So if you're a fan of aircraft from those centuries, then this should be right up your alley. Now, as for me, I find their look functional, but not desirable. They are good solid ships that get the job done, but I've never looked at them and thought to myself that they stand out, which is how Anvil likes leaving things better said on the battlefield than through style. Alright. So how does the Anvil F7C handle? Now overall, I like Anvil's thrusters, at least moving forward, and their handling. The Pisces is one of my favorite ships to fly, and the handling is pretty spot on and responsive. The Hornet is no exception, and even though you lose some of its nimbleness and atmo, this is to be expected with almost every fighter, but with aerodynamic control surfaces being worked on for in-atmo flight, ships that handle a little weaker in atmo could see some great gains in this department. Regardless, I had fun flying this ship both in atmo and in space, and was not detracted by it in the slightest. Alright, looking over the bugs, there are quite a few that have popped up recently for the Anvil Hornet series overall, and many look to be things related with 318 that's affecting a great many ships and not just this one. Even changing the sorting of the column to be most contributed did not show anything too recent that seems to be a huge problem that'll keep you from buying this ship, except for maybe the ship components disappearing. But again, this is an issue we've seen in the PTU with 318 as well, and so it's definitely something I've seen being worked on, and hopefully results in us moving past it with the actual live release or soon thereafter. Alright, this is a category that means different things to different people, and the best that I can do is offer up my own opinion on why I think it either is or is not worth the real money, price, or grind in game. And I do try to keep in mind that a great many people truly watch what they spend, and so I like to find reasons to justify something's worth, especially in comparison to similarly priced ships that might be close to the same category. The F7C Hornet is priced a little more than some of the other light fighters such as the Gladius or Arrow, and while this ship can sometimes feel like more ship, in honesty it really isn't, at least not in this variant. When you look at what most people fly when they're going with light fighters, this ship is not always the first choice mentioned, unless you're just running PvE where folks prefer having a couple of extra guns over the Gladius. In the end, which ship you fly is just dependent on your own style and preferences, and I'm not one who just chases the meta and will fly what I like versus a meta. As far as it being worth the extra price over the Gladius, I think again that just depends on your own style and preferences. For me, it's not that much more to where the cost would keep me from purchasing it with real money, and the in-game cost is almost $1.5 million, so not badly priced there either in comparison to the others. I think this ship is definitely competitively priced and worth it depending on you, and no red flags go off to me in terms of the evil Star Citizen marketing gods having mispriced it. Alright, so here we are at how I think this ship could be improved, or things I would love to see changed if I could come in and wave a magic wand and have all the ship folks do my bidding. Now, the ship is already covered in terms of variants. There is a two-person variant and a stealthy variant and so on. The ship looks like it has an EMP on it already, so perhaps that could be a variant with the sudden increase in EMP activity we've seen. Who knows? But the thing I think this ship needs is more paint jobs beyond anything else, and not just colors, but also the ability to add some kick-ass logos on the sides like Star Kitty ladies or bomber girls or guys posing. Allow some wing flare or color-tinted cockpit glass. The ship deserves to look more cool than it currently does, and allow fighters to decorate them as they like, because if there's one thing that would be cool is to be able to recognize a sweet, unique fighter just by the ship. This goes for all fighters and not just this one necessarily. Alright, and that's going to do it for this ship review of the Anvil F7 Hornet. So how do I feel overall about the ship? Well, to me it's kind of average. It's nothing special, nothing bad, just a right in the middle kind of fighter that could use some oomph and nicer looks, but not a ship I would buy myself. But then again, I'm not all in on combat. The ship combat I prefer is multi-crew, and I do have my referral Gladius for when I want to do bounties. So as far as solo combat ships go, I'm pretty much set when the light fighter range. But I think the ship has a decent fan base and following, and I do enjoy seeing it out in the verse instead of all the Gladiuses that we see. Anyway, remember to be kind to your fellow gamer, keep demanding more from the devs in terms of ship improvements, and stay positive citizens.